I can only do so much. I'm gonna only tell you once. I'm not gonna tell you twice.
Right off mother.
If you get 4 different kinds of juices, your glass still full. You feel me? So
We here. We on your ass. You feel me?
You know what? I'll start it off like this. Right off mother.
hey baby, this is exclusive. Hey baby, this is exclusive. Hey baby, this is exclusive.
Right off mother.
Dallas 35, you feel me? Bow your heads, close your eyes. God is the greatest. Amen, Jesus. It's your boy Ocho the GOAT, the Deuce with the juice, the Don with the magic wand. We back with another one, you feel me? We getting ready for this season 2 thing. You know, we got the boys back in the building. We got the Pharaohs back at the motherfucking palace.
Right off mother.
Smooth Rod Mac, Suave Casanova. Welcome to season 2, the official season 2. Ocho, why I feel like you was just whispering to me a second ago, nigga? I feel like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that just felt sensual.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Real,
I felt it. You
don't
know
know
what I'm
what to
saying?
say.
I'm trying to be in my zen. You feel me? I'm trying to be more at peace. You know, I'm trying to find my center and shit, you know.
I feel
If
that.
you think it, you'll be it type
You
shit,
feel me?
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You gotta walk it in and talk. You know, I'm trying
I
to
feel
portray
that.
a
On some
softer,
better you shit.
You feel me?
On some better you shit, I feel that.
Hey,
you
baby,
know
this
what?
is
I'm gonna
exclusive.
introduce the new camera angle when I introduce myself. What y'all talking about?
Look at niggas.
There it is right there. Ooh, shit.
Hey baby, this is
It's Mr. Nino, Mr. Tech Guy, you know what I'm saying? We got us right. We got us a new setup. Me and Mr. Rod got it figured out, you know what I'm saying?
Ooh-wee.
Shit, we in the new loft.
Oh,
I don't even think we really got
Hey,
a new
baby,
loft
this
for
is
introduction, you know what I'm saying?
Studio number 2, man. Studio number 2. We got 2
Another one.
studios.
right off mother.
Another one.
Y'all know we get down.
Another one.
So fellas, what are we here to talk about? You know what? I guess I'll bring us in. First off, let's start with God is good all the time.
And all the time.
God is good.
Y'all didn't have to do that. Y'all
here,
didn't have to
man.
do that.
We on your ass. You feel me?
You know what? I'll start it off like this. I was scrolling down Ocho's Facebook page because this nigga that's been getting all the love as of recent, and came across a post saying or asking how come young people or young black people are leaving the church or not going to church as often. And I felt like, you know what I'm saying, it was a good conversation that was had in the comments, and, you know, felt like we should bring it to the pod.
Okay.
So the synopsis of this post, you know, the overall answer I got, long story short, people, they like spirituality. They don't mind following a religion. They don't like the organized doctrination that the church might entail. So a lot of people, they avoid church because, let's say, they disagree with how the pastor conducts himself. You know, let's say they had an unpleasant experience at
Okay,
a
I feel
church,
that.
you know, growing up. It could have been them themselves. It could have been their mothers, their sisters, their aunties.
Okay, I feel that.
You know, in any religion, in any church, we can't ignore, you know, the negatives that occur.
And there are a lot of negatives.
You feel me? Yeah.
So,
a
I mean,
lot of negatives.
I guess I could kind of speak on that. I had quite a few bad experiences growing up in church. You know what I'm saying? Like, overall, my church home was a great place. I learned a lot. But I did have some bad experiences that did kind of, you know, scar me. Now that I'm older, you know, and I've made my way back into church, I do see that there are a lot of benefits to going to church. I still don't see myself being a regular every Sunday goer because I feel like that. I believe that I'm heavy in the spiritual side of it, not in the religious aspect. Because religion is man-made, spiritual, you know, being spiritual and being one with God in that aspect is something completely different. So
Hey, baby, this is exclusive.
I really don't see. I'm not really in tune with a whole lot of that religious and the religion practices and the religious traditions. You know what I'm saying? Because I did have a negative experience firsthand, and I do see a lot of the negatives when you're so wrapped up in what's going on in church. At times, you start to forget the overall point.
And I would even add to that, I was somebody who, excuse me, who didn't necessarily start off going to church. My mama kind of gave me the option young, and I was just kind of just like, nah, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to get up on Sunday mornings. There wasn't really nothing to it. I was a kid, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't have
Yeah, we know how that go. We not kidding.
I'm not going to sit
Kid,
there
you
and
feel
lie
me?
to y'all and say I had some, you know what I'm saying? I was 4 years old. I didn't want to get up, so I wasn't going.
Right.
But as I started kicking it with Ocho, one of our other brothers, you know, and started seeing them go to church, I went there a few times and, you know, tried it out, even caught the Holy Ghost once. You know what I'm saying? I was in there, you know what I'm saying, shit. Ocho was Pastor Byron, you know what I'm saying, had his hand over my head and I'm screaming. I'm just screaming.
Yeah, talking
You
tongues.
know what I'm saying? You know.
Amen to that.
And so, you know, and there was nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I definitely felt positive vibes. My cup was filled afterwards. Everything that you would get from, you know what I'm saying, a church setting, you know, a successful one. But my overall opinion is I just think with all of the negatives that have happened over time, you know, I think it is fair or practical to see a lot of people no longer going.
I
know
feel
what I'm
that.
saying?
I feel that.
When you think of things like,
I feel that for sure.
and I don't want to call her any religions, you know what I'm saying?
No, I mean,
But
we're in the age of information. You know, like church is a lot more accessible without having to go to church. So let's say like I'm a quarantine Christian. I don't necessarily have to go to church because I can just stream Stephen Furtick on YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
That could be my church now. So, you know, like
I feel that.
even though people might be physically leaving the church, sometimes it's just about tapping into what works for you. So, you know, within the realm of being a Christian, and it comes to black Christians, white Christians, there's all these denominations and stuff. You can get caught in the mix. Find a church, you know, that's good for you. Find the people that you mesh with, and that should, you know, improve your church experience. A lot of people fall out with church because within church, you know, like there is a classism, there is a hierarchy. You know, there's usually a power trip / power struggle.
Yeah.
all the things that you wouldn't expect to find in the house of God.
Yeah, you know. I
Let's
always
just be
say like,
honest. Let's
yeah,
be
I
honest,
mean, you
you
know,
know,
and then
because
you know,
that's the
church,
elephant in the room.
church
I mean, we
people
could-
are
we crawl
normal
around
people.
it.
You feel me? Everybody ain't perfect, but you would think people that go to church would be a little more perfect, a little more often. You know?
And you hit the nail on the head for me. You know what I'm saying? When I was a kid and when I would go to church, and I was always going there with the mindset of, and I was taught to go there with the mindset of looking to connect with God, looking to learn more about yourself, looking to learn something new in this message.
Yeah.
Or learn something new from the people here, you know, looking to connect with other people who followed the same religion that I did. But when I got in there and I really started to get intertwined, and I watched my mother and my aunt was intertwined in some of the things that would go on, and I started to learn how some of this stuff was, it was a real turnoff to me, because I did feel like, you know, it was so much focus on all of this other nonsense, or this power struggle for someone wanted to feel like the boss, or someone wanted to feed their ego, or whatever it may be, when the whole point was to be reaching out into the community and spreading the word of God and coming together as a community. Like that was supposed to be the mission, and that was not what we focused on, and that was a big turnoff to me. Now I do agree with you, Ocho. Like I do think after I went and found a different church and went and found different people and started to reconnect, you know, I did have a better experience, and I have had a much better experience. But even still, I still think that there are certain hierarchy struggles and certain power struggles or power structures within it that I don't necessarily agree with. So I don't want to get completely intertwined into all of that. So I think that's kind of where I stand with church, and I think that's where a lot of us stand, is like, yes, we see the benefit, and yes, there's a great feeling of it, but when you look at how much it's flooded with power struggles and egos and what you look like and what you wear, instead of just letting people come as they are and praise God as they are. I think we really start to lose that interest as a whole.
So lucky for me, my background is, I grew up in church, quote unquote, both sides of my family went to church a lot, My mom and my dad then taught Sunday school at a certain point. I was in church, but like, I was the kid who was just in church. I wasn't necessarily like active in church. I wasn't on the praise team. I wasn't really going to the summer vacation Bible camps and all that stuff. It was just like, I had to go to church, It was kind of like going to school. Like, y'all know I'm a loner. Like, I like gaining information on my own. So like, I kind of developed my relationship just off curiosity, like, I'm pretty keen on like spirits and shit, like energy. Like, I've always, like, growing up, I always felt, I thought we had like ghosts in the crib and shit like that. So like, for real, bro, like that kind of, that kind of pushed me towards God too. I'm like, I ain't trying to get snatched up by none of these demon spirits. So it's I remember like getting saved. Like, I saved myself in the 3rd grade, and like nobody coaxed me to doing it. I just like, I felt like it was something I had to do. Like at early, I was like, shit, I don't feel like going to hell. It was that simple for me, So I've had, good experiences in multiple churches since then. I've never been the person who has fallen out with the specific church, but like, I've seen my fair share of shit that makes sense. Like, okay, yeah, I would have left too. I get that. Like, damn, that's unfortunate. So Christians ain't perfect. If we're looking for stuff, if we put a big ass magnifying glass to it, there's a lot of fucking problems in the church as a system in general. So I get, the deterrence, because I'm always on the side of, like having your one-on-one with God. Like, at the end of the day, your granny can't pray you into heaven. You got to develop your own relationship with him. So you don't necessarily need a church to do that. And I feel like in this day and age, we're all wrapped up in our phones and stuff anyway. That gives us a good enough reason to venture out on our own and not necessarily need the system anymore.
So what we dancing around, what we kind of dancing around is what
I was ready.
I saw it.
Yeah.
So what we
Yahweh
dancing
shit,
around
guys,
is,
that
what are some of the problems that have ran people away from churches?
The overall treatment of women, bro. Like I say, like me as a black man, I've had a positive church experience, but like they don't really try that stuff on the guys. We're more stubborn. We're a little less.
That's not true.
In certain places, we can say that too. In certain places, they do try the guys. And I be one of the people like we say like that's Catholics and like
Nah. There was a pastor in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Who's fucking young guys in his motherfucking. It just is what the fuck it is. I ain't dancing around and shit. Hey, it is what the fuck it is.
That's very tough. He not supposed to be doing
Everybody
that.
want to dance around. Let's be honest. The church been tripping when it comes to women. They tripping when it comes to the LGBTQ community.
The alternative lifestyle.
Call them what they want to be called.
They're detrimentally traditional in some aspects.
They are very detrimentally traditional. The reason why Roe v. Wade is now being turned over to the states, that was pushed by Christians and other religious people here in America, and that's turned people off. It really has. Why would we go and worship and do all of this, sing Kumbaya, and then y'all go out and basing y'all religion, you guys don't act on people's best interest.
Okay, I feel that.
And I always tell you, like, they doing that shit the wrong way. Because like, if you're gonna follow,
and
religion,
they would tell you that you're doing it the wrong way. There's more traditional ones of them than there are of you.
Yeah, and that's why like-minded individuals gotta help implement change. I'm younger,
there's like 10 of y'all.
When it comes to church, bro, it's all about the old head. So it's like some of these
that's not necessarily true,
60,
bro.
70, 50, 40.
A lot of our generation were the ones who were voting on a lot of these things. You know what I'm saying? Let's not dance
I was talking
around.
about the church aspect. I wasn't talking about the politics. Politics goes.
Well, even like,
I don't think anybody in our generation would have voted against. We're not trying to end that shit.
Well, we got to go with what Rod said, and the facts are facts. Roe v. Wade was overturned, and that was ultimately pushed by our generation. Our generation did have a huge. There were a lot of people our age.
We all voted in that. We all voted in the last 2-3 elections.
That's what I'm saying. Like we've been. There are people that that don't feel the same way that you do, and They
That's
voted,
that's just a fact.
and they voted against how you feel. We are what you would consider untraditional Christians. If you want me to be honest with you, like that's what I put myself in, because I don't follow a lot of that traditional stuff. But when you look at a lot of the traditions, and when you talk with people who come from that traditional Christian base, they do have a lot of the same ideologies that the Republican Party has. And
I wouldn't want to just throw it under. I wouldn't even throw it under conservative. I would just say it is not as liberal.
They have conservative based. Some of their traditions are conservative based.
Super fucking strict.
Yes.
You know, that's why
They're
it was like
conservative
detrimental
based. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like that strictness is a part of that conservative, that conservatism. I couldn't
Because
find
when it
that
comes to
word.
religion, you know, like the opposite of heaven is hell, and like any aspect of any religion, like there's always a bad place and there's a good place. Some of these extremists is what we call them. We can call them extremists.
I would
Motherfuckers
say
use it the wrong way.
like extremists are like 9/11. That's
Yeah.
extremist.
Yeah.
The people who have been voting and have been pushing to get Roe
you
v.
can be a
Wade
religious
overturned,
extremist. You can
I
be a
wouldn't think
religious
are
extremist.
extremists. When you look at the average Christian does not believe in abortion. The average.
That's
if we
true.
were to pick out an allotment of 10, 7 to 8 out of 10 of them would believe that abortion was wrong in some way.
That's
and
true.
that it probably should not be.
I'd have to see the numbers on that. I just, like I say, when it comes to stuff like that, I use point of reference. I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, the election kind of told us, because there was a large Christian base that really did sort of side with some of these conservative views.
but we also know a lot of
The
us don't vote.
conservative, the Christian base is what pushed these things.
A lot of the and
I mean,
a
what do you
lot
mean?
of there were a lot of black Christian bases that were also pushing a lot of these things, that some of these things were wrong and needed to be changed. And even though I remember clearly hearing a sermon from somebody that was along the lines of, although we may not agree with everything, but this is one thing that, you know, has been in fruition and it needs to be changed. And I'm like, oh, well, whoa, let's wait a second. Let's slow our roll, because then we open the door for things that we shouldn't be opening the door for. Like Brown versus the Board of Education, like what's the other one? Gay marriage. I can't remember the name of it, but gay marriage. These are things that can now be put on the table that we have opened the door for, that people weren't quite thinking
A lot
about.
of people have already put these things on the table, and a lot of them come from a religious background.
And that shit
I'm
is
not
wrong.
necessarily saying that they're black. A lot of them are white. There are some black people who feel this way too, but when we're looking at just, you know, not to speak of any certain religious group, but if we're talking about Christians, the vast majority of you guys have traditional beliefs. I mean, you would have to almost prove otherwise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Like I
saying?
said, I just
mean,
rely on, you know, the golden rule. Every religion has a golden rule of just being a good person. Like, if you want to ban abortion, that's not necessarily being a good person, because you know all the possibilities somebody could end up with a baby on the way in 2020. So it's like getting something like that repealed, you know, removed, is very, very contradictory to the golden rule, to the doctrine you're supposed to be following, you know. Because at the end of the day, you know, like, that's something that, regardless of how you view it, is helping that person's life. And maybe that is that plan for that person, you know, like, God works in mysterious ways. Like, that's not really on you as an official or as a person to say what somebody else could do with their body. That's using the book the wrong way, in my opinion.
I don't disagree, brother.
I agree
don't
with you,
disagree,
but
but I
there
feel like
are
you'd
a lot
be
of-
in the minority in that opinion.
Yeah,
That's why I say I think
I
it's
was
the
gonna
old
say-
heads
I
that
don't
said
disagree.
that, bro.
I was
feel
gonna
like
say the
people,
same thing.
Absolutely.
I feel like people in
Yes.
our demographic, people who, you know, look like us, should be having some of these same ideologies. But like I said, a lot of us, unfortunately, don't vote.
Well,
True. And on the abortion topic, I would agree, but let's bring up maybe the LGBT. And I hate that I get that wrong, because we should be respectful.
And
You
it
know
all
what I'm
boils
saying?
down to just
Let-
loving people. You know, like, if you're a Christian, Jesus talks about loving your neighbor. You know, God is love. It doesn't matter what the color, what the creed is, you feel me? Like, it's about the personality. It's about, you know, saving the souls. At the end of the day, what they doing in their free time is none of your business. And I feel like that's how most Christians should be kicking it.
I agree. But again, you'd be in the minority.
Yeah, like
It's a minority opinion.
And I get what you saying.
It's like whenever we sell Dark and Lovely, whenever she gives us the minority statistic, that's what you just gave us.
Yeah.
But I agree, bro. You are right. Yes. And fuck me.
Damn, Rod.
Oh well, you know.
Ocho was preaching.
The
and I was
system
hating,
the
but-
system needs an adjustment. The system definitely needs an adjustment. Me as a Christian, I could understand where other Christians are coming from with some of their stories, some of their testimonies. You know, it's very fucking unfortunate. You feel me? Like I say, that shit shouldn't be happening. It's just like as a football player reading about that Jerry Sandusky shit. Like, whoa, that's crazy as fuck. That shit shouldn't be happening. This is very wild.
Well, that's been going on for a long time, and that's some of those things come from some of those traditional views.
I was telling Ocho this. It's not even traditional things. There's some things, it's just people get views based upon sample size. We're talking about like frats, for example. People have a negative view of frats because of the sample size.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like Ocho would tell me his frat is good. And I'm like, that's yours.
Because there's a lot of other frats.
If we were to look up some of the horrible stories that have came out of these frat houses, you would be in the minority. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And so some of these things, you know, are just. You know what I'm saying? It's just for some people to feel this way. It's just for some people to be turned off by church and religion because a lot of the thoughts and practices aren't practical.
I agree.
Flat out. Aren't practical.
I agree. Ocho, I have a lot of the same viewpoints as you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do feel church is supposed to be a convening of people under the name of God, whether that's two. All it takes is two people. That's what the book says itself. So if all it takes is two people to show up and praise God, then we can have church anywhere. Why do I have to go to this building every Sunday and pay my money to this building every Sunday?
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that because I'm getting on Tithes next. Go ahead, brother.
And I gotta pay my money to this building every such and such. I understand that I should be paying tithes to the Lord, but I can pay my tithes. I can give back to the community.
Your tithes to Gerald.
Right off, mother.
Get the fuck out of here, cause that was on Ocho. That was on Ocho's Facebook status too. Nigga said, I don't care if the pastor pull up in a motherfucking Tesla spaceship.
I don't. That man
I'm still gonna pay my tithes. And it's like, nigga, and that's the issue. You will do all of this for this one church building, and then you will go home to shit.
Or not give back to the community itself. Like, cause I think that's like
a lot of these churches don't get back to the community because number one, they don't pay taxes.
That's another
These
point
churches are sitting in the hood. You throwing all your money in this damn church.
They not paying.
This church ain't gonna pay for a road.
A single tax.
It ain't gonna pay for a school book for your child. It don't matter how much you sit in there and pray to God. It won't do it because they don't pay taxes.
And like I said,
that's something that we can all continue to dance around. But that's just the fact.
You know that God loves a cheerful giver. So it's like, when it comes down to tithe, if you look at what tithe and offering is supposed to be, the offering, you don't got to give too much, and the tithe is 10% of what you make. So it's like, if you give your 10% of what you make, God should give you back hundredfold. You feel me? It's about
if I make $100,000 and I give the church $10,000, right? That's almost like paying state or federal taxes. We complain that the feds don't do anything with our money. We complain that the state doesn't do anything with our money. What is the church doing with your money?
Like I said, bro, you gotta go to the right church. You feel me? I know my money.
The church doesn't pay taxes in any community anywhere in America. Not in any state. Not in any state. We have 50. All 50, no church pays taxes. Not one.
That's very
What
true.
is that church doing in your community with your money? What is it doing?
Giving out backpacks.
They doing giveaways, backpacks, turkeys. You feel me? Clothes.
With $10,000. Now, mind you, some of these churches, let's say you get a small one. That's 20 people. It's 20 people. You get tithes once a month. It's 12 months.
You make it.
And you're giving out backpacks, a back to school backpack, and a fish fry outside.
God provides. You get it.
And the pastor can show up with all these jewels and medallions, and he can just give you the word, and you tell me God like a cheerful giver.
It's about
it sounds like
seeds,
somebody getting their ass finessed.
And that's kind of why
the oldest trick in the book.
That's
half the battle is showing
saying,
up. You feel me? It's all faith based. You feel me? Like I say, it's about sowing seeds. It's investing in your future.
That's kind of why I was saying I definitely feel like you can give tithes, give back. You can give tithes, as in give 10% of what you make I would rather do that by giving that to a charity, finding somebody who really need this 10% and giving it to them. Because if I'm not gonna get this 10,000 back anyway, at least I know I'm doing something good with it, instead of me taking this money and giving it to a church who may or may not do what I think and what the book says are good deeds with this money.
And that's why you got to
Because
find a church that's good for you, because you always have the option of joining the church or not joining the church. If you aren't technically a member of that church, you don't technically got to tithe and offer. Like, as a Christian, you should tithe and offer, but at the end of the day, you got free will as a human being.
Well,
But the question becomes still that we have literally finessed around, and I'm glad y'all did, because it was a tough one. I know. What is the church doing with your money?
Now I can answer this question. I have been to a church that really does give back to the community.
Yeah, me too. You know,
As in, they do reach outs where like they give out stuff at the beginning of the school year. They have a mid-year carnival for all the kids.
Man.
It's
I mean, that
free.
shit goes out
You
saying,
know what I'm saying? Like they,
Let me shake ups. You feel me?
They actually have like
can't really scoff your nose up at any kind of
at one
charity,
point they were
so.
doing like overnight things where like kids could come and stay
Little
overnight,
ass
get them
homie.
some food. You know what I'm saying?
little cookout, little haircuts. You feel me?
It's the hood. You know what I'm
giveaway.
saying? Like
And
little
then
hoop sesh.
meanwhile, on your way there, your car bumping on the road and the buildings is falling apart. But as long as the church gave away 20 motherfucking backpacks, you guys are cool.
How many backpacks you gave away?
You guys are cool. Well, shit.
All right.
At the end of the day,
Well,
shit. I pay taxes.
Who you coordinate?
My taxes, the taxes, if you pay taxes, and if you pay taxes, that is what builds the roads.
Yep.
That is what actually puts school books in schools.
So why the roads ain't built?
And 100 million trillion other things.
Because-
Because when
So
you're
why
in
the
the
roads ain't
hood,
built?
Well, I got
I got
That's
them.
right.
Go ahead.
Because when you're in the
Go
hood,
ahead. Go ahead.
the tax base doesn't have a lot of money. Meaning your tax pool is smaller, meaning you don't have the money to do a lot of shit.
Because of poverty, not because of the church.
But if the impoverished people
Are putting all their money into the church.
You can assume they're not putting a
who
lot of
in
damn money in
return is not putting real tangible things into the community, like roads, like schools, because they will never do that.
There's no way
You
an
are still
impoverished
doing
community
that to your
is
detriment.
now inputting too much money into the church. It's an impoverished community. How much money is going into the church if this church is inside the impoverished community?
Also, now
Hold on.
this is where I have to say there are
I'm just asking questions.
plenty of occasions
you know the answer to some of these. You know there's plenty of poor folks who are walking into these churches and are giving they last for these tithes. Let's keep it a buck.
There are
Let's
plenty-
not dance around. I thought we. Nah,
And like I said,
No,
but how
no,
much
like
money
now.
is that going to be?
I ain't gonna dance
hold
around
on,
now.
let's be honest. If you got 20 po people who only make $500 and they putting their $50 in there, you look up and you made you a nice little buck for the month that you ain't got to pay taxes on, and all you had to do is get up here and talk about God for a couple of hours. I will agree that the church system now and the way that it's set up, that the fact they don't have to pay taxes and the fact that a lot of churches do the bare minimum to give back, even if they or may not be getting the largest amount of money.
Operation expenses. The lights on,
it should only
the
be
air blowing,
the lights and the
staff,
air should be on once a
the
month.
band.
I mean 4 times a month. It's 4 Sundays, maybe
deacon
5
board.
in a month. 4 Sundays a month. I know it don't take $5,000 for that.
And the pastor got money. He the one to open up the church.
I mean,
Pastors aren't broke.
Most pastors got
They
multiple
come out. They
jobs.
come out and try to do this. If this man had enough money to get a building, secure it, he ain't broke. I'm on
very
their ass.
true.
Well, I mean, you can't
That's
be
very
broke.
true.
I'm on their
You can't be
ass.
broke to run a church. It costs money.
He got money to get the building. Someone checked his finances. He got money to operate this bitch, or he wouldn't have it.
I've seen very few poor pastors. I do agree with that. All of the pastors that I see are living very, very
Because it costs money to
lives.
run a church.
They're living very, very comfortable lives.
It costs money to run a church. You feel me? If some of these churches got a whole lot of people in, you got to make a whole lot of air conditioning. You got to get a whole lot of songs.
Nigga, the
whole
air
lot of
conditioner
speakers.
gonna be what the air conditioner gonna be regardless.
But I mean, like, okay, let's
You gonna
say,
get an industrial air
motherfuckers
conditioner.
making $50,000
The windows gonna be
a
sexy. The
year.
doors gonna be sexy. The carpets, the chairs cost. The stairs, the pulpit cost.
And
the
whenever
swimming
you
pool
drive
cost.
up to this sexy ass church In a lot of these places, you are driving
parking
past
crew costs.
shit.
But I think we need to go back to where this sort of base comes from with the church system. It comes from the fact that back in the day when communities were a lot smaller, communities would have one church. So the federal government was like, if our smaller towns, which back in the day when we were founded, we were a lot of just misplaced small towns until we cleared this motherfucker out. We had a lot of towns with one church in that town, and everyone were paying tithes to the church, and the church really was doing a lot for that one community. But now when I drive down my street and I see 3 churches in one community, there's no way you all could be doing the absolute most and making money off of this. So something isn't adding up. Either you're doing bare minimum and making money, or you're doing the most and not making money. And nobody do nothing for not making money. Not in today's age. It has to be some sort of funding involved in it for you personally. And I know we can dance around that, but I think there are a lot of people who take advantage, or there are a lot of pastors and a lot of churches that do take advantage of some of these tax laws and some of these federal laws.
And let's not just blame pastors. There's plenty of people who have these non-for-profits.
That's why I said
those are tax write-offs. There's a lot of people who, out of charity, finesse the system.
And they in the wrong. They're not supposed to be doing
finesse.
that.
Yeah, I
These
feel
people
that.
supposed to be in their doctrine. They supposed to be operating by the golden rule. I don't know why the fuck that's so hard to do when you get up there.
Well, a lot
Shit don't make sense. We got to change it.
How?
People like us got to be more involved in the church, because if we were involved in the church, then it would have to form to us. We have a collective personalities. We have charisma. You got to take over. You got to change things. You got to put your hands on things sometimes.
So you trying to say, instead of people leaving the church,
The same thing y'all told me about the dating pool. Y'all told me don't leave the dating pool.
you full of shit.
Yeah.
You just get up in the middle. You get up in the middle of Sunday. Pastor, that's some bullshit.
I mean,
my
bro,
mama.
If you read the Bible, God don't duck no smoke. So you got to get it done for the Lord.
Well,
If it's for the Lord, if we trying to do something good, you got to smoke Goliath with a rock. So
And by them standards,
I feel you.
Seen,
I feel you.
As a rebuttal to that, Ocho, we've seen a lot of people go into churches and say that they disagree with someone. And let me tell you, if you walk into my house, somewhere where I pay bills,
there's always a way to go about it.
I work hard to maintain, and you walk in here trying to tell me what I'm finna say and not say and do and not do in a place where I pay, my pride gonna get in the way.
Hey, what did Marlon Wayans say? Don't be a menace. I'm gonna work real hard, earn the trust of the high officials. I'm gonna rob this motherfucker blind.
Yeah, but it's just like,
Switch that shit up. You got to infiltrate the deal to find a supply, man.
It's easy because, like you said, you've had just from what you said.
So bro, like I've been on the tech crew at a church. I've been in the band of the church.
Yeah,
like there are ways to get involved in your church, and then once you build a rapport with everybody in the church, once you get trust.
So let me ask you this question:
you could implement.
If you was flaming gay, would you have been involved in all of those things? Don't laugh.
They be in the choir. Question. They be in the choir, don't they? Singing their ass off.
I'm just asking.
Some of them preach.
I have been to.
Some of them preach their ass off.
I have been.
Some of them praise dance.
I have seen.
And will break that shit down.
I do know some very, very devout gay Christians. Some very, very yeah.
If they not getting in, I know I'm not getting in either. I'm sorry.
All right.
So
I feel you. I agree.
But once
again, superb Christians.
I agree.
But I
wouldn't disagree there, brother.
These are a lot of unconventional ways. Now, I will say here in the last 5 to 7 years, we have seen churches trying to appeal more to everyone.
So people like Mike Todd and Stephen Furtick are more urban type of preachers.
But
Mike Todd spat in that dude's face.
My honest opinion is because motherfuckers ain't making money. So if a business ain't making money, of course a business is going to have to change the way that it promotes itself to make more money. And I think that is kind of
Now, some people would frown at you for calling a church a business, but you know what? I am here to tell you that is exactly what it is.
Like I said, bro, operating expenses.
You
provide a service. You provide a service.
It's a business. It's a business.
You provide a service.
Let's call a spade a spade.
Multi-billion-dollar industry. to be exact.
Ooh wee.
Bro, you gotta chill.
I'm just saying. I don't like you tiptoe around it, but you know.
Mega churches be real.
You know.
No, I know a lot.
of people make money off
I've
this.
seen quite a few mega churches. Let me tell you, and
lot of people
I'm
make money
glad
off
we
God
brought
right
up
now.
mega churches. This is one reason why I have issues with with church in general. I live down the street from a mega church.
You do, and that church is really, really nice.
From a church, and I've been inside. It's really fucking nice. It's huge. Everything around it that the church itself owns is really, really nice. But let me tell you, if you drive 2 blocks, where the camera? If you drive 2 blocks either way, it turns into complete crap.
And
like
you
the
know
Lion
what?
King.
He lived there, so he throwing on an extra block. I'm gonna be honest. You drive 30 seconds past that bitch, you gonna see real quick what the fuck is going on.
And every time, and when I look around this church, it owns buildings, it owns apartments that people live in that they're renting out. It owns this.
So this shit on the contract.
It's supposed to own. It says there's
Now what? Now Jay.
it
Now
says
Ocho, now
there's
you
a-
tell me why is someone Tithes paying for a condo, nigga?
That's not supposed to be happening. It shouldn't be happening. It just shouldn't be happening.
There's a lot over there, and my problem is, and one reason why
agree.
I could never go there and put $1 into this is because I live here and I see who does what for the community, and you could do a lot more for our community. You could do a lot more and not have to own it. Let me be specific, because it seems like the only way they want to do anything for the community is
Everything
if they
should be rooted in
own
service.
a piece of it.
You say
If
they buying up the
own
block.
They play a monopoly.
You say gentrification.
it. Bro, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, we call this
Ooh,
church.
wee.
Nah, I shouldn't be doing this.
I mean,
I shouldn't be doing it.
we-
But you're right.
To
You're
a
right.
certain
You're right.
extent,
You're right.
you know what I'm
You're
saying?
right.
It is
I feel you.
churchification to a certain
Gentrification.
extent. You know
I
what I'm
mean.
saying? Like, they buying up the block. They're looking to buy this and renovate it into what they want. And it's like, if they don't own it, they're not necessarily trying to do anything to help the community around it. And that's fucked up. So I do have a problem with some of the ways mega churches is one thing that turned me off from churches, because you making a whole lot of money, bro. You making a whole lot of money. And you
Doing your Sunday best.
you know what I'm saying? And it just can't be.
Private jets. You just see what some of these pastors had.
Like I said, bro, when it comes down to mega churches, I feel like if you're going to do a one-on-one walk with God,
Bishop T.D. Jakes.
it's like going to a university. How you going to interact
How you
with your
become a
professor? There's
millionaire,
50
you a
people in this
pastor.
class. You feel me? There's too many students for the professor to interact with you. How you going to a church when there's 3,000 people in here? Like, you don't know the pastor. The pastor don't know you.
I need you to say that again.
How you become a millionaire being a pastor?
Mm-hmm.
I just need some of these questions answered.
That is an honest question
Selling
that
stuff.
I've always had.
Selling God. Selling God. Selling God.
He was on BET early in the morning,
Selling God.
yelling at us.
Selling God. It ain't just
5
it ain't just
in the
Bishop T.D. Jakes. I
So-
just you know
Ain't talking
I
about
don't
T.D.
want to just
So
name I don't want to do Bishop T.D.
So
Jakes like that. It ain't just him.
Ain't talking about Bishop.
So
Let me
that
throw a
makes
white one out there.
That makes me want to ask the question of, has the name of God been turned into a
Yes. God damn it.
Okay.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
okay? All right.
Yes, it has.
Okay. Ocho, what do you think?
You got to ask the whole question.
All right. Do you think?
That's fair.
And I'm trying to find a nice way to word it, but I'm fuck it. Do you think the name of God has been turned into a dollar sign?
No, I think we're in a society that over monetizes everything. So unfortunately, you can monetize God too. Ooh wee. I think everything is over monetized. I think everything's a cash grab. You know,
I had to hit my cup on that one, Ocho.
I think everything's a cash grab. You feel me? Like
It is all
if
a
you-
cash
if,
grab.
if you're in
It
the wrong
is.
spot, somebody gonna sell you some shit.
You said everybody's just trying to get to some money.
People will sell you anything in 2020.
People been selling God for a long time though. I would say that. People been selling God for a long time.
Long before 2020.
Long,
And
long,
they not supposed to be
long,
doing
long
that.
before
That's all I'm be saying. They not supposed to be doing that.
God been making people a believer.
Right off mother.
It worked though.
Let me stop. Anyways, I had to get, you know what I'm saying? Because it shouldn't have to be like that. But man, damn,
Oh,
because
my
look, bro, in
goodness.
all honesty, a lot of people, they talk about how bad the federal government is and yada, yada, yada. But it's just like, you will literally are supposed to give 10% of your check to a church. The state income tax here in Illinois is 4.9%. I'm giving the church more than I'm giving the state, who is putting books in schools, building roads, responsible for putting up electric poles, and I could just name all sorts of other just random shit that I just shouldn't have to, because y'all should know what all your local fucking government does.
But
God is greater than all that. You can't love the earth, you gotta love the kingdom.
But I think
you can't love the.
But I think
you can't let the
you
climate change, nigga.
things.
You gonna say we can't let the earth? So whenever your kids want to go to Miami 30 years from now, and that bitch 40 fucking feet underwater, what you gonna say? Pray about it, son.
There's a lot of sand in Miami.
Pray about it, son, and maybe the water will go down. Or we'll go give our money to Gerald at the church. He'll make it go down.
But I do sort of agree with you.
I mean,
but I think
like I said, when the conversation get over here, what are the
opens up
non-Christians
an overall question. I think this opens up an overall question of charities in general.
The churches didn't build the dams and the highways. The federal government did.
And that's and
it be Christians in the government
and trying to build off
There are.
and building off of that.
That's why we saying like some of these, it gets away from the church specifically.
With the
If
federal
I'm supposed
government,
to be giving the church 10%,
with the federal government
them
doing
niggas ain't building no
so
dams.
much,
They
and
building a whole lot of other
and
stuff.
the church doing
like
so
I said, you
little,
can worry
it
about the
does
highway.
at a
You can't
certain
worry about what we
point.
gonna eat or what we gonna wear.
I can't be worried about what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to wear, and whether or not I have a highway to drive to work. As long as the church has its lights on, I can go there and pray about
You
it.
can't walk by sight, boy.
How does that sound?
It ain't
We're
supposed to make
literally
sense.
saying that in order to improve the hood, we need to have better investment, better roads, change the highway system, better transportation.
You take
Those
your
are
black
all
ass down to
acts
the hood
that
and
the
you do it.
federal government will have to come in and do.
You
You
go do
can
the
go
shit.
to any church in the hood that you want to and pray for every hour of the day, and that church will never do that.
Faith
That is
without
a
works
fact.
is dead.
That is a fact. It is what it is. We can walk around it. It can sound bad. You can hate me for it, but it is what the fuck it is.
You do
What is going to build the road outside are the people you vote for, not the people you pray for.
You gotta pray hard and play hard. You feel me?
It is what it is. And sue me because I said it.
Palace 35.
You do at a certain point, because we still got to go for another 10. You do at a
Yeah,
certain
Ocho, y'all know Ocho wanted to get out on that.
Yeah,
No, we ain't letting him out. No, we ain't
you
letting
do
him
at a
out.
certain point have to take a look at what can be done for our society. And I do agree with you, Rod. If our federal government is building roads and building critical infrastructure that is key to the living circumstances of every person on this planet or in this country, regardless of whether they're Christian or not, that should be a higher priority than giving my all or giving my last dime to the Lord. And I know that sounds kind of rude and kind of cruel, but we do have to be, God said, even God himself said it take work. And if it take work, he know we need roads. He know we need infrastructure. He know we need water. So my God is understanding of, hey, these taxes got to make sure they get paid before I give you my last dime. And those are some things that need to be readdressed, because living in the hood and seeing a mega church own half of a community and only helping their half really fucking scares me, because that means that there are a lot of people out here only helping the ones that are close to them and not reaching out and grabbing like they're supposed to be doing. And that is where I feel like we've kind of lost that church way. So it's tough. It's tough. I agree with you, Rod. The church, this whole church dynamic, the whole federal law system, they should be taxed now to a certain extent. If
10 people are putting 10% of their check in there, let alone a mega church that holds 5,000. If 5,000 people are putting 10% of their salary in that church, it needs to be taxed. That's a business. That's a highly grossing business. On top of that, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't sound like that business is going to be closing anytime soon. Especially if that's running shit every Sunday of every month of every year. It's pretty good business.
Yeah.
Pretty good business if you ask me.
Yeah,
they do not. It is what it is. It sounds bad, but
But I think
It is what it
charities are also the same way. A lot of charities that are
I
not
look into a lot of these charities too.
that are not church based. A lot of these charities are now there are a lot of
Running
charities
off
that
on
are
the plug.
doing the right thing, but there are a whole lot of charities running off on the plug, making their money and keeping their money, and that's just what it is. And I think that's where we need to really take a look at how this charity church system and taxing these sort of systems work, because if they're making more money in a community where there are no roads, or the roads are piss poor and the community is piss poor and there are vacant homes and things that need to be redone and things that could be done for the community that they are not doing that, and they're making all of this money, that is a huge problem. That is a huge problem.
We're mad at Jeff Bezos for doing the same thing. There will be posts and memes about Jeff Bezos not paying taxes, but the churches have made billions of dollars and neither did they.
I talk shit about Walmart all the time because like half of the Walmart family make the Forbes top 5 every year, but they only pay their employees $15 an hour. The church makes a whole lot of money and don't pay taxes, and giving out backpacks with pencils and notebooks is the bare minimum. That's $3 at Dollar Tree, $4 at Dollar Tree, and that's supposed to be enough because you bought 20 of those. You just made $1 million this year. When that,
no cap.
you just made
Untaxed.
$1 million untaxed, because people are
Federally and state, federal, state, and local. It's not taxed at any. It's not taxed.
A lot of churches have it to where you can pay your tithes automatically. They'll just pull it from your account. You ain't even got to worry about it.
They walking around with the little scanner thing now, and whenever your card updated with the chip, so today, that you tell them, I got the chip. Oh, it don't matter. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it sounds bad.
I seen the church putting this cash app up.
You can invest in your future.
I seen,
But
hey,
yes,
send
the
money
churches
to
should be
this
doing
cash
more.
app.
Charity should be doing more. It's one of those things where the wrong motherfuckers doing the wrong shit and they misrepresenting the brand.
Yeah. But shit, if the brand don't hold them accountable because the brand is just saying regardless,
Because niggas don't go to church no
I'ma
more.
just keep on paying tithes. But it was a whole bunch, and under that tithes thing, it was a whole bunch of y'all who went to church just saying I was just gonna keep on paying tithes, knowing it was messed up.
Because we go to churches that give back, that are active, that help implement positive
For
change in
10%
communities.
of your salary, does that church put plumbing in the ground for you so you can flush your shit down the toilet?
I don't need them to.
Well, somebody needs to.
Well,
They can figure that shit out.
or you can pray about it
God provides.
and die soon. 'Cause that's what happens without plumbing, sewer, water. Hey, I'm sure the
Well,
folks.
you know
Hey,
what?
you know what?
If
I'm
you
sure
say
the
all that
folks.
boiled down to the
I'm sure the
government,
folks in
bruh,
Mississippi and
If
Flint
all
praying
that
right
shit boils
now.
down to the government, how we
Jesus.
blaming the church for it?
God,
if
please
we just said for
clean
20
the
minutes, all
water
that shit boiled down to the
and-
government. All that shit boiled down
I'll
to the
give more
government.
money
and
to the
taxation.
church. I will. I
So the
put
government fucked
$5
up.
in the last time. I should
So
have
the
done
government
it.
fucked up.
But but churches.
That's the government fault.
But
It's not the
there
church
are
fault.
also-
It's the government fault.
There are
That is the
also
government
churches.
fault.
Right.
It is the
So what the fuck
government
is talking
fault,
about?
but there are also
The
churches.
government do the
taking
roads.
advantage.
The government chooses not to
We
tax the
need to
church.
be able to hold churches accountable for
Hold the government
taking
accountable. Like
advantage
we
of
always
this.
do.
But
The
those
government always gets
governments
shit wrong.
are shortchanged.
The government been getting
And
shit
if the
wrong.
government is shortchanged, then of course they have to
How
make
that
some
sound?
of these tighter.
They not shortchanged. You talking about all the money the church got? Georgia,
Well,
they print money.
Mississippi is
make money.
Mississippi is the poorest state in our country, and it's very, very short.
That's by design. It's a scheme.
It's not by design.
They did that.
No, it's not. You need to go do your research. You know what I'm saying? And the vast majority of them people down there, especially black folks, have been getting finessed for a long goddamn time. And it's time for them to wake up.
It's part of the Bible Belt. Racist motherfuckers.
Time for them to wake up. A lot of motherfuckers got to wake up. Wake up. Wake up. You can't pray your way out of everything. I'll be the first one to say it.
You can't vote your way out of everything either.
No, but shit.
No, but
You
shit.
get some plumbing put in your backyard so you can flush your goddamn toilet. And that'll help most of the time.
All I'm
Speaking
saying
of
is-
flushing the toilet, do you know how you catch polio? If you're not born with polio, you know how you catch it?
How you catch it?
By not getting fucking vaccinated at the goddamn hospital whenever you come out
No,
your
I'm
mama
talk-
snatch.
Man, I'm talking about back in the day. Back in the day before they had the vaccine. You know how you call
Well, it's a
polio?
vaccine now. And as long as you motherfuckers get off this bullshit and start believing in vaccines, we shouldn't have even talk about polio. When you come out your mama snatch, you're going to give your baby a damn polio shot. That's the end of that, brother. And we're all okay. Bada boom, bada bing.
I was trying to make a point, but he just said,
You
fuck
make
my
it then.
point.
You
He
make
just
it
said,
then.
fuck my points.
You
know
make
what I'm
it
saying? I
then.
guess we just gonna wrap it up.
You make it
today, You
then.
know what I'm saying? It's Mr. Nino, Mr. Tech Guy, man. Shit, we got us a new camera set up, Palace 35. We are P35 2 Mob coming out soon. TBD on the release date, you know what I'm saying? But it's coming soon. Shit, season 2 coming soon. Pillow Talk coming soon. Shit, go check out SNS. Go check out the ladies' room because the ladies' room hard as hell. I really enjoyed the ladies'
Ladies' room is a classic.
Ooh,
I really did enjoy the ladies' room, bro. Like when sitting down and really listening to that, I enjoyed that a whole lot. I had to go listen to it a third time because it really made me think about myself a little bit as a man. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm a bitch ass nigga or nothing, but even real niggas can learn.
You know.
Real niggas learn lessons from everything. So I learned me a lesson or two. You know what I'm saying? From the ladies.
There's always information.
Shout out to Ladies 35.
It's your boy Ocho to go, man. You feel me? Season 2 is on the way. We busting y'all ass and all this intellectual ass shit. We on y'all motherfucking ass yet again.
Smooth Rod Mac Suave Casanova. I'm here to tell you. It's a season 2. It's a season 2. It's a season 2.